You can have more money and still enjoy retirement less. That sounds backwards. Retirement is supposed to become easier as your financial cushion grows. More savings should mean more confidence, more flexibility, and more freedom to enjoy the years you worked so hard to reach. But for some retirees, the opposite happens. The larger the portfolio becomes, the harder it feels to touch. Spending starts to feel dangerous. A vacation feels less like enjoyment and more like a withdrawal. Replacing an old car feels like watching progress disappear. Even small comforts can trigger the quiet question, what if I need this money later? And that is where retirement can become surprisingly restrictive. Not because there is too little money, but because the habits that built financial security never learned how to turn that security into life. For most of your working years, the rules were clear. Earn, save, invest, avoid unnecessary losses. Watch the numbers move in the right direction. A growing balance meant progress. A shrinking balance meant something had gone wrong. Those rules were useful. In many cases, they were exactly what made retirement possible. The problem is that retirement changes the job of money. During your working years, money is largely being built for the future. In retirement, at least part of that future has arrived. The savings are no longer only there to become a bigger number. They are also there to support your time, your choices, your comfort, your relationships, and the life you now have the chance to live. But your emotional habits may not change on the same day your employment status does. A person can retire from work while still thinking like an accumulator. That matters because spending from a paycheck feels very different from spending from a portfolio. When you are working, more income is expected next month. In retirement, every withdrawal can feel as if you are removing a brick from the wall that protects you. Even when the plan is sound, the emotion can be uncomfortable. Over decades, your savings may have come to represent much more than money. They can represent discipline, competence, sacrifice, control, proof that you made good decisions. So when the balance goes down, it may not feel like a normal part of retirement. It can feel like you are undoing something you spent your entire adult life building. If you appreciate calm, practical conversations about retirement, money, and the psychology behind our decisions, consider subscribing. There is another layer to this. The more you have built, the more responsibility you may feel to protect it. Imagine spending 30 or 40 years filling a reservoir. You watched the level rise slowly. Some years were good, some years were difficult. You kept adding to it anyway. Then retirement arrives, and someone tells you that the reservoir is now supposed to help irrigate the life around it. Logically, that makes sense. Emotionally, opening the valve can feel wrong. You spent decades celebrating the rising waterline. Now using the water looks like decline. And the larger the reservoir becomes, the more dramatic even a small drop may appear. This is one reason more money does not automatically create more ease. More assets can create more options, but they can also create more to monitor, more to protect, and more opportunities to imagine what could go wrong. A retiree may be financially capable of taking a trip and still postpone it for 3 years. Someone may easily afford a more comfortable home repair and keep putting it off. Another person may avoid spending on help that would make daily life easier because paying for convenience feels indulgent. None of these choices is automatically wrong. Caution is valuable. Some expenses should be delayed. Some purchases are unnecessary. Retirement does involve real uncertainty. The important question is whether the decision is being made by the plan or by the fear. There is a major difference between saying, "This expense does not fit my retirement plan," and saying, "I know I can afford this, but spending the money still makes me feel unsafe." Those two sentences can lead to the same behavior, but they come from very different places. And if fear is always allowed to make the final decision, the portfolio may remain healthy while retirement becomes unnecessarily narrow. You may travel less than you wanted to. Keep tolerating small inconveniences you could comfortably solve. Decline experiences that would deepen relationships. Avoid helping someone you care about, even when your plan allows it. Or simply spend far more time thinking about money than your actual situation requires. You'll find a few additional resources related to retirement planning and money psychology in the description and pinned comment below if you'd like to explore this topic further. This is where one of the most important distinctions in retirement appears. Financial security and the feeling of security are not the same thing. Financial security can be estimated with numbers: income, spending, assets, debt, withdrawal needs, insurance, time horizon. The feeling of security is different. It lives inside your habits, your history, your expectations, and your tolerance for uncertainty. And the uncomfortable truth is that the feeling of security does not always grow at the same speed as the portfolio. Someone can reach one financial milestone and immediately move the emotional goalpost. $1 million becomes the number that must never fall below $1 million. Then perhaps the portfolio grows further, and the new balance becomes the number that must be preserved. There is always another level that would feel safer. But if safety is defined as never seeing the number decline, retirement creates an impossible standard. You want the money to support your life without ever feeling like you are using it. That tension can quietly turn wealth into something closer to a museum exhibit. Valuable, carefully protected, and rarely touched. A healthier shift is not to stop caring about preservation. It is to become more precise about what the money is being preserved for. Some of it may be there for future healthcare needs, some for housing, some for family, some as a buffer for uncertainty. Some may be intended to create income, but some money may also exist to make the present more livable. That could mean experiences, comfort, time with people you care about, paying for help, making your home easier to live in, giving yourself permission to enjoy something without having to justify it as an investment. The question is not, how can I spend more? A better question is, what is this money still protecting me from, and what is it supposed to make possible now? That question separates fear from purpose. You might discover that there is one expense you have postponed, even though it fits comfortably within your plan. Not because it is unwise, but because spending itself has become emotionally difficult. You do not need to force the decision. Simply notice it. Then ask whether your hesitation is giving you useful information, or whether it is an old rule being applied to a new stage of life. For some people, the answer may be to create clearer boundaries. Decide in advance what can be spent without guilt. Separate essential reserves from money intentionally assigned to quality of life. Use a sustainable spending plan so every enjoyable purchase does not require a new internal debate. For larger financial decisions, professional planning can also help because confidence is easier when it is connected to a realistic plan rather than a vague feeling. Carelessness isn't the answer. Prudence simply needs to do more than protect the balance. The same discipline that helped you build financial security can now help you use that security thoughtfully. A good retirement plan should not only answer, "How do I avoid running out?" It should also help answer, "What is this money allowing me to do?" More money can create more security, but more money, by itself, cannot teach you how to feel secure. That part may require a different skill, learning to see money not only as something that must be defended, but as a tool that can safely support the life it was built for. Preserving wealth has value. Preserving it beyond every reasonable need can have a cost, too. Not necessarily a dramatic one, but a quieter cost in flexibility, comfort, choice, and experiences that remain permanently postponed. Retirement becomes more satisfying when protection and permission can exist at the same time. You do not have to stop being careful. You do not have to abandon the habits that brought you here. You may simply need to let those habits evolve. Because after decades of building security, the next form of financial wisdom may be allowing some of that security to become freedom. If you enjoyed this video, watch the next video on your screen for more thoughtful insights on retirement and money.